Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 711, Doctors, Dak, and Disappointing Matchups. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. Just back from my latest MRI, so my medical saga continues. But aside from that, feeling pretty good.
How did it feel getting stuffed into the tube?
Well, this is going to make you laugh. I'm in the donut one. You know, like I don't have to go.
Of course you are. They saw you and they're like, this guy, donut.
So yeah, I just have the kind of moving in and out, and then I'm instructing you when you can breathe and stuff. So it's not the most pleasant experience. It has to be said. It does make you feel like really sick. You know, you're kind of having that done to you, and it makes you feel like I know I'm fine, but then in the back of your head, you're like, well, I mean, this isn't good though. And I don't particularly enjoy the injection they give you that makes you feel super warm.
Oh, yeah, shit's gross.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Contrast.
It's a pretty unpleasant feeling for a few minutes. And what's interesting, this is my third one of these I've had done. In the hospital, it did not make me feel very warm. At this clinic I go to, I mean, it makes me feel boiling. It's not great.
Yeah, it's gross. It's not the best.
No, but it's an interesting experience because I kind of go to this private clinic, and the clinic is everything. It's MRIs.
When you say private, you mean it's just rich people?
Well, no, because I mean, still most of it is being paid for by Social Security. So after that, like you could go to a free version of a clinic for this same thing, but most people, even if you have some type of private health coverage on top of the Social Security, it's not going to cost you very much. So for context, I have to pay up front. I think it's basically like $200 for my MRI. And from that, I'm going to get back like $170 pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
but in a private one, like when you walk in, they give you like a nice bottle of champagne to sit there.
It is very clean. It's very nice, very clean, but it's multiple floors. It's pretty big, and it has every type of radiology, scanning, imaging that you could have done. So you have a very big range of people in line for their appointment. There are people with stage 4 cancer who are about to die, and then there are people who've chipped a tooth and they're going to go and get their tooth scanned. And there's a little bit of politics that then goes on when you're waiting in line of like, there's a line, but obviously some people need to get to go first. And it's interesting because I had a standoff with this one person who was probably 50, but who I knew because they'd already semi-checked in prior to me, was just there for a tooth scan. And they wanted to go, they then went and sat down, even though everyone else was standing. And then they were trying to sell me on the idea of like, well, but I get to go before you. I'm older. It's like, A, you're not that much older than me. And B, you're getting a tooth scan and you don't know what I'm getting, but I promise you it's more serious than your tooth getting scanned. Like your braces can wait.
Well, but why don't you just have appointment times?
You do. And if the people, for the credit to the people working at the check-in desk, they just want you to get in line and that's it. Like there was a moment where there was someone who was very sick who kind of wanted to skip line, and they were saying,
I don't get what's the line for? Just checking in?
Yeah, because you have to fill in some forms. You know,
yeah,
you have to,
okay.
You sign. One of the things they check, for example, is you agree to pay the amount that you're going to pay for. You have to sign that before you get the scan done. So yeah, it takes maybe 90 seconds. So it's not as if skipping ahead of someone radically changes what your experience is there, but it was interesting. People are still very edgy and want every advantage they can get.
So you're saying in the 90-second line to basically like sign in that you're here for your appointment, people are trying to cut each other.
Yes. So you're just, it takes the average person, assuming you're semi-competent, it will probably take you about 90 seconds actually speaking to the people. You basically say, hey, I'm Edward. I'm here for a 2:30 MRI. They go, oh yeah, we got you. They print out the form. They go, it's going to cost you this amount. Please sign here. All right, there you go. Oh, can you give us have you been here before? No. Give us your email address and your phone number. There you go. And now go to waiting room 6 on the first floor, please. That's it. And people are still like, I need to get ahead. I really need to I need to get my scan done before you do, because and it's not like we are all going to the same area. So getting ahead
Yeah.
of me in the line might not even mean anything in terms of when you're ahead of me. And they then anyway honor the time of appointment for the
Yeah.
scan, not the time you checked in. So cutting me in the line, even if we are going to the same machine, you're still going to be behind me if your appointment's
Oh,
later.
you could have pulled the classic, like really annoying guy on plane thing, where like people are trying to get in the line on the plane, and there's always that guy there that'll say like, "We're all going to the same place. It's not going to leave without us. We're all going to the same place, except this place is death."
yeah, that's not really lightening the mood. But then the interesting thing, you kind of had the scan done, as I
But
said.
what cracks me up about that part though is like it is funny, just some things in culture, in certain cultures that just don't change. Like you telling me this and me having lived in France, like I 100% believe this is like people see a queue and one, they want to get on it, and two, they want to get in front of it. And it doesn't, like the fact that you have an appointment time, so it doesn't matter, but it's still in the back of their mind, like they have to get to the front of that queue before everyone else. It's one of the more French things I know, like, that I can think about.
Yeah, no, I mean there's no respect, and lines just are not something that they have any understanding of. So yeah, it's no matter where you are, hospital, you could be on death's door, and they don't care about that. But the interesting, so then you kind of go wait, have the MRI done. As I said, it's not the. I made one slight mistake. This is embarrassing though. So you have to strip down obviously to have the MRI because you can't have any metal. So, and I knew that coming into it, so I
Just
kind of
got in the
tried.
donut ass naked.
No, so I kind of tried to wear. I did put some thought into. You want to make sure you're wearing underwear that you're comfortable walking around in for a second. You can keep your socks on.
Oh, this
And
could go so many good ways.
but I went to the bathroom just to pee, just before I went in for the MRI, and just at a urinal, and then I came out and I was like, oh damn, there's like a small spot on my underwear.
At yourself.
No, not poop, you idiot. Just on the front. And
Yeah.
the embarrassing thing is then you do have to lay down, and that person is then kind of like moving around that area. So there was definitely an acknowledgement of the fact. I could tell this guy locked, oh, there's a small damn spot there.
This guy pissed himself.
Yeah.
Fifth one today.
It's a little embarrassing. And I was like, God, that was a mistake. But then once that was done, you kind of go through all of that. And then you have to wait a minute, and then a doctor is analyzing the results, and then they call you in for the doctor to speak to you. And it's an interesting experience because they have it up on the screen, and they're kind of running through the various images, and it's the kind of live imaging, where they can kind of, they're scrolling and it's showing you it. She's like, as you can see here, you'll probably see this. And I was like, I can't understand anything you're showing me in this imaging. Like, I'm not even confident that's a human that you're showing me.
Oh, you're not a radiologist too?
No, because for context that people can't see, it's the sort of 3D imaging of you as a tube. So I can pick out my spine, and there's my spine. Okay, I can identify that. And everything else is just kind of globs on a screen that are slightly moving as they scroll. And to be perfectly honest, I couldn't identify an organ. I couldn't tell you what's inflammation, what's not inflammation, what's good, what's not good. But they're kind of trying to relate this to you as if I'm going to be able to look at this. There's the only image that I can look at and be like, oh, interesting, is the sort of front on part of the scan. Or like, okay, that looks like a human body. And I can pick out my lungs, and I can pick out my intestines, and I can see that. But everything else, I was like, I appreciate you telling me, but you don't need to be pointing it out to me as if I'm going to have, and I'll say this, I probably have a better understanding than 99% of the people who are also going through that. So, and that's not really a compliment to myself, but the fact that I had to go through that process with everyone, where most people are probably, oh yeah, I'm just pretending like I can see it. I was just like, I don't understand it. We can skip this part. Just tell me if I'm dying or not.
That's actually one of my favorite parts whenever I get those types of things. I'll sit down with them and I'll ask them everything. Like I'll have it like, so like when they say like you can see here, I'll be like, oh wait, so I'm looking at like this, right? And that's like the large intestine that's like descending in, and they'll be like, oh no, that does a little bit here. Like I'll have them explain everything because that to me is really interesting. So like one of my favorite things is when I used to go to the sports med doc. He used to do like injections with ultrasound, so you could like go to the area. And he used to do like talk about, is this complete bullshit or not? He would like do the ultrasound. He'd be like, yeah, see here. So here's like your tendon, and it looks a little inflamed. And I'm like, dude, that just looks like a gray, like shaded area. Like, come on. And I would have him kind of keep going through and doing everything. But I think that part's cool.
No,
The
it's
imaging stuff is cool.
the technology is amazing, right? And if you know what you're looking for, I'm sure it's incredibly insightful. But literally, I had even the reference point of one from 2 months ago. And so she would say, look, you can see between your one in July and the one now.
Oh, you had two different ones? You couldn't even do the like circle the differences picture? Come on.
I could have, on some of the angles.
You've done Photo Hunter.
Some of the angles I could have told you some of the reduction in the inflammation that I could see. But in most of them, because I don't know, for example, even what the density of on the scan, I don't know what the density of inflammation is supposed to look like. So it's then very hard for me to be like, well, I don't know, is that inflammation or is that an organ that's suddenly appeared out of nowhere? I don't really know. I genuinely, it could have been one of those pranks where afterwards she said, "Oh, that's not you. I just wanted to see if you would nod and go along with it."
That's a dog.
Yes, like genuinely, that's your dog we put down a few months ago. There's nothing. There were no, aside from my spine, there were no reference points for me to help pick out what was what.
Wow, that's funny.
But good news, I'm not dying. So yet of that. Let's check that one off.
You are dying slowly, but yes. Not of that probably.
No, it's very thoroughly checked. Everything on this part of the only thing I've not had a good check on is my brain, but everything else, looks pretty good from that perspective. So that's reassuring. One of our mutual friends, Ernest, when I saw him a couple weeks ago, he was doing. He's
dying.
No, he was doing the like, you're sick, bro. You're super sick, bro. You're sick, bro. Not in a positive way. And I said to him after a while, I said, actually, I know I'm pretty healthy now. Like, this is the big benefit of this is I've had to have, you don't know anything about what's going on inside you. And that caused him, I was only meaning it jokingly, but he then had a slight moment of 5 minutes of depression in the bar. He's like, you're true. You're right. I could have tumors. It's like, well, you could. I doubt you do. That wasn't really my point. I didn't want to send you into some kind of depressive state.
Well, tell Ernest that I said, when was the last time you got blood work done? And if it's anything less than like every year, be like, oh, Frank said at your age, that's like very concerning. You should have like yearly workups done.
I would say there's no chance he's had blood work in the last.
Oh, no chance. No one does.
2 or 3 years. In Europe, especially, it's just not something you really, again, unless you are sick, or you're going for your sort of, once you get to a certain age, you're going for your checkup that you get every like 2 to 5 years. But at his age, even at his advanced age, he's not going for those quite yet. Well,
you got shoved into a donut shaped tube, and I kind of had to shove my body into a evil contraption. I took my entire lab. We had a lab outing activity, and we did reformer Pilates. So that's the one where it has like the machine, like, it's the lie down machine kind of, where it looks almost like if anyone knows, like a hack squat, but it's like a lying down hack squat machine. So one of my students is a instructor for the course, and it's like they just have started it. It used to be like a spin, I don't know, spin place. I don't know, whatever. And they've added the reformer Pilates to it. So they're like working in different classes and stuff like that. So she's one of the instructors. So she, every once in a while, if the room's open, she can bring in some people to like try out new class routines and things like that. So she was able to bring the whole lab of us in. So there was 12 of us that did it. Have to say, I was in probably the top 3 of the class. So I felt pretty good about myself.
How many people were there?
12.
Yeah, okay. Top 25%. That's top quarter.
For someone who's never done it. And
to be honest, Pilates is one of those
things.
Never
done Pilates either.
Yeah, because they love doing those videos, right, on the ESPN Instagram and stuff of football players or hockey players doing Pilates, and they're shaking uncontrollably. It's like, this guy's super strong, but he can't do Pilates, and it makes...
You know what that told me? That pro athletes aren't as strong as they think they are.
We'll get you and Saquon Barkley in a Pilates class together, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, and obviously you can increase or decrease the challenge by the springs that hold the platform. You can, make it stronger or easier. So I probably wasn't on the hardest one, but most of the leg stuff wasn't that terrible. It's when you get into more of like the core stuff where you get screwed. Especially me, I get screwed. And this is the thing I don't think people understand. It's a lot easier to like move your legs around your head and around your body when your legs weigh like 30 pounds. But when each leg weighs like 70 pounds, it's a little more difficult.
But a
Like
lot
I've got like
easier to do that.
150 pounds. I'm trying to like throw above my head and like slowly lower.
But a lot easier to do that too when you're under 6 foot tall.
No, it's not. The hinges don't work as well. But yeah, there was a little shaking involved. One of the leg exercises, I was definitely shaking by the end of it. But half of the class had quit at that point, so at least I was still doing it.
Will you go back?
I mean, if we did it for another activity, I would do it again. I wouldn't willingly say, I want to add this to my workout routine. Like I can do other leg workouts that are similar to that. Because what's funny is it actually was pretty similar to like a home workout, leg workout that I do. Like a lot of the movements were kind of similar, just obviously not with the stupid machine. But so yeah, my legs are sore today, but not any more sore than when I do like a normal leg workout. We'll see how the rest of the lab feels. There was a few people that were fucking struggling.
I've had a stiff week because, so to speak, because I had my first game and last game of this softball season catching every year.
First and last.
Every year that catches, it takes me by surprise just how much that affects me for the next 3 or 4 days, just squatting down for that period of time. So,
why don't you just get the little knee things? The
things that go behind your legs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even wear most of the catching equipment as it is. I'm not wearing a cup, so I don't think I'm going to put on like the.
But those things like just like kind of like support, so like it kind of like helps you hold your body up a little easier.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Why don't you get that? Why don't you get that pants chair seat?
Yeah. But no, I don't actually mind the catching element or getting in the squat position. It's just I know I'm going to feel it. 2 or 3 days afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously we have our NFL preview to come, but what any sporting events you'd like to cover before that?
I don't have anything. I have a little good lead up into the NFL if we want to go to the NFL, unless you have other non-football. Not much going on.
No, yeah, it's been a quieter week. Obviously, there was the Europa League football and stuff. It's not quite as interesting as the Champions League, some League Cup games, but again, nothing particularly interesting to write home about.
I mean, I'd be depressed if my team I supported was in the Europa League.
In golf, you've got the President's Cup that got underway yesterday. It's hard to think of a more pointless outing than the President's Cup. It's just the USA every year. I mean, aside from very, very rarely. And they're 5-0 up after day one. It's just it's completely pointless. And what
it doesn't have the rivalry associated with the Ryder's Cup. Like there's genuine hatred in the Ryder's Cup.
Well, I think the advantage the Ryder Cup has too, right, is that there's a thought of Europe can win and that we're trying to sort of prove ourselves against, it's a little David versus Goliath, but still David has a decent chance. Whereas the President's Cup is David versus Goliath, and David has no chance. And that doesn't make it particularly compelling. And one of the arguments, the only thing I've seen on social media is a bunch of people commenting on the fact that the U.S. team has no live golf players. And, what a shame we don't even have live golf star power. I mean, why do we need them? You're 5-0 up. So, and then the other thing, too, is all these live golf players, because Anthony Kim is one of them kind of leading the charge of why aren't live golf players allowed to play? Well, you don't let PGA players just step into live golf events. You know, like Scotty Scheffler can't just say, you know what I want to do? I want to go play Live Singapore next week. You guys are going to let me play, right? I can just come in, win the $20 million and go away. Oh, I can't do that? Well, yeah, you could come and play on the PGA, though, if you want.
Well,
That's
do you think
fair.
it's just people don't know it's a PGA sponsored event?
Maybe, but I just think it's because people, the live golfers want to have their cake and eat it there too. And if you like live, you think it's the PGA trying to shut down some important, you know, grassroots movement being fed by the Saudis. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, then moving on to the NFL. Obviously, watching a ton of the NFL this season. A lot of red zone, so this doesn't come up as much, but you do get it in the like night games and the Thursday and the Sunday night, Monday night is the commercials. And one of the commercials that seems to persist from last season is the Frito-Lay's commercial and the Pepsi commercial. And that's the 2023 kickoff campaign Unretirement that stars retired NFL players, Randy Moss, Dan Marino, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, when they like sit on the thing and they said, well, what if we went back and played? And they put on the pads and it's like, oh my God, they're old. Look at that. They're getting beat up. Made me think, can you put those players in order from how old they are to how young they are? So
Probably
again,
not.
it's Moss, Marino, Rice, and Emmitt Smith are the main people in that show or commercial.
Okay. You're asking me, which makes me feel like there's going to be a big trick in this, because the obvious answer is that Randy Moss should be significantly younger than the other two.
He's 84 years old.
Because
yes, he is. No, he is. It's not a trick. It's just I just wasn't sure how old they actually are.
So Randy Moss retired in what, like 2010 ish, and I would have said he was pretty old when he retired. He was maybe like 35 when he retired, I'll say. Pretty old for a wide receiver. So that would mean I'd say he is 50-ish right now.
He's 47, I think.
Okay, pretty close.
I don't know if this was last year or the year before, or this year, but 47.
Okay. Good research skills for your own question. It's an easy Google away.
I wrote this down like 4 weeks ago, and I can't remember if I just got it from the article or if I went and looked each person up individually. All right. I think I looked them each up individually. Okay. So he's 47.
Emmitt Smith, retired early 2000s?
But he played forever, didn't he?
He did play forever.
On the Cardinals. He had like a walking cane when he'd get in on third downs.
But he was also still a running back. So playing forever as a running back. I'll say he was born in like 1965. Say he was 35 in 2000. So that makes him 59, something around there.
Yeah, he's 55.
Okay.
Not bad. You're
and
2 for 2.
Dan Marino. This is the trickier one in some respects, because I'll say Marino was born, mid-90s.
You're just like saying when they're born.
Well, I'm trying to, that's easier. I'd say Marino's a little bit older than Emmitt Smith, so born around 1960. So I'll say he is 64.
Okay. And then how old Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice, 65.
So you're slightly off. Jerry Rice is only 61. Dan Marino is 63. So Dan Marino is the oldest of that group. You're close. But Dan Marino is the oldest of that group, not Rice. See, now I thought when I watched that commercial that Dan Marino looks significantly older than everyone else. Like, I'm surprised Rice is over 60.
I don't know.
I know when you think about it, when he played, but when you just look at them, I think he looks like he's in a lot better shape.
He's in good shape for sure, but he still goes on those ridiculous runs, right, around San Francisco. But You see him obviously at pretty much every Niners game with his big chains on and stuff now, part of the Niner gang. He he looks kind of older when you see him in that environment. The face looks pretty
But
young.
when you see him next to a 23-year-old Brandon Ayuk.
No, I just think when you see his full body and he's not wearing workout clothes or anything, because he is obviously in very good shape for someone of his age. But when you just see him in a suit and you just sort of see his whole body and how he's holding himself, I think you do start to see then someone who looks like they're in their 60s. But he has the big advantage. I mean, one, has elephant in the room. Black people can often look younger than white people as they age. Not always, because you have, you know, some outliers there in the white community, but for the most part, we don't age quite as well. And
Wow.
what? It's the truth. I'm not saying anything controversial here. Yeah, you have for every Paul Rudd, there's, then you go, oh my God, how old is that guy? He looks 78 and he's 42, you know? There's more of those than there are Paul Rudd experiences. But um, the other advantage he has too for him is always had a shaved head. So you have no of the graying hair, losing hair side of things, which would be another big age indicator. So like if you do have the shaved head early on, I think you have an easier time having the older age not look quite as old.
Where do you think Paul Rudd fits into this group?
Paul Rudd's sort of like mid 50s, isn't he? I think he's 55-ish, so he's coming in the middle basically.
Yeah. He's the same age as Emmitt Smith, 55.
And he definitely looks younger than Emmitt Smith. But he also didn't get run over by a truck 7 times every Sunday for 15 years. Paul Rudd's life has been a little bit easier on him than Emmitt Smith was for a while. All right. Well, before we do the week 3 preview, I guess we should say we had the Thursday night game last night, Cowboys Giants. Actually a pretty good game in the end. Two kind of middling teams. Daniel Jones, one of the better performances I've seen from him in a long time in terms of start to finish. No terrible errors. I think some pretty conservative play calling from the Giants, which maybe cost them. But
I mean, like 260 yards passing.
No, Daniel Jones played well. I just think, you especially look at the last
2 games in a row. Like the game before, he had, I think, three or four incompletions. He's not doing terrible. The issue I have with Daniel Jones is there are times where, like, if he just makes a better throw, it's a touchdown. Or it's like a really good gain. But his throws are still slightly inaccurate, where like the receiver can catch it, but he's got to like turn over or turn around, and then they get tackled. Like there was that one with Neighbors.
You say that though, but I found like the Giants were doing a lot of routes yesterday, whether they were drawn up or not, that it did involve them stopping and turning around, and not in like just like, and as a result of that seemed to be causing all sorts of issues for the Cowboys secondary, who never seemed to figure this out, that no matter what type of route they were running, it was eventually going to come to a stop. And then they were going to get that was when they were getting the reception. But yeah, Daniel Jones played pretty well. As I said, I think the Giants, the only criticism I think you can have is
they settled touchdowns.
They only field goals, but particularly the final time when they settled for that field goal on the 4th down. I think you go
1.
Yeah, you have to go for it. It's like
he's such a little bitch.
Your defense has been doing pretty well, and you have been getting stops. And you could argue, I guess, if you're him, that you got yourself eventually then into position to win the game. But realistically, you just go for it there. Worst case scenario. I never understand the logic in some respects, because the logic is we'll settle for 3 because our defense is doing well and we think we'll get this stop and we'll get the ball back. Well, if your defense is doing well and you trust them that much, then go for it. Because if you don't get it, you're going to get the ball back and you're going to have another chance. So no matter what way, if you're trusting your defense a ton, you should actually then be more confident going for it on a 4th down.
No, yeah, and we've talked about this for a few years now since Dable's been the coach. He is like a hardcore, like, I'm old school football, I'm anti-analytics guy. And that's not working for you. Like, maybe you should take a look in the mirror and say, maybe I should trust the analytics a little more. Because I fucking suck as a coach. And my team had 1 winning season the first year I took over. And since I've really implemented myself into this program, they've been in free fall. So, maybe it's time to
The
change
first
this
person
old
there
school
kind of
mentality.
the first person there kind of threw me off, and I was trying to figure out where your coaching career had gone. I was like, I kind of suck as a coach, but even my team, even my brief spell in charge of the University of Arizona, things have improved. We got a bowl game.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I guess the funny thing is you can't win football games kicking field goals unless you're playing against the Giants. That's the only time you can.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I came away from that feeling slightly more positive about the Giants overall. They seem more competent and more capable than they made themselves look in the first week or two of the season, where it really did look like they're not one of the worst teams in the league. They're going to give people a hard time. When I say not one of the worst, I mean not bottom three, bottom four. They're not
But
good.
but this is every year. This is the Giants. I mean, I think this is again like 2 years in a row now where I could make the statement. Like the Giants should be 3-1 right now. They should
Yeah.
definitely should have beaten the Commanders and probably should have put the Cowboys away in that game even at the end. You have the ball left with all you need is one drive. And we've said this before, right? Like it always feels like when teams have the ball and need that one final drive, it almost always happens now, I guess, except for the Giants. But they should be 3-1. And I say this every year we go through these games. Like every game is a close game that's winnable, but they just don't fucking win the games. And at some point, you've got to get rid of the coaches who just can't win games.
I think this is why you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are sort of alternate universe Giants, where the difference in how good they are is not huge, but they have that knack of winning games that they probably should have lost or winning one-score games, and you get to experience the complete opposite with the Giants. And I think that's where your hatred for the Pittsburgh Steelers under the last
Or maybe
decade
I
of my
just
talk.
know, like I watch them and I know this is just a winning version of the Giants, and the Giants are just not that good of a team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But no, my big takeaway from it, I feel even worse about the Cowboys after last night than I did
Yeah,
going
they did
into it.
not look good.
No.
I mean,
The
you
only
take
thing that,
away that 60-yard pass, and
yeah.
they had like one good drive the whole game. That opening drive.
Yeah, and I mean, Dak Prescott, that contract. I don't know what you do when you're running a team because you can't let Dak Prescott just walk. He just puts you in this awful situation, which the Giants kind of went through with Daniel Jones too. And a lot of teams do, where I think deep
But his is
down,
much more friendly.
yes, he has a team friendly contract. I mean, Dak Prescott is earning 3 times what Daniel Jones is earning.
Yeah.
And on the basis of what we saw last night, is not 3 times as good. But I don't know what you do as an owner or a GM or a head coach when you're put in that situation of, well, we know we can't get better than Dak Prescott. If we just let him walk, the team is going to get worse. But at the same time, I don't feel like paying him $65 million a year.
Yeah.
But there's no alternative. It's binary. And I don't know. You can piss off all your fans by like, oh, you're too cheap to sign Dak Prescott. Or do you come out and say, we don't think Dak Prescott is capable of winning a Super Bowl, and I'm not going to have the highest paid player in the NFL history be playing for us at quarterback when I don't think he can win a Super Bowl? It's sound logic, but it would still annoy most people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, are you okay with having a early exit playoff team, or would you rather have a brutally awful team for multiple years with the hope that you pick up the quarterback who then can get you to the Super Bowl? And I think that's actually a tough question as an owner. Like that's got to be the part that owners struggle with, because I think some owners are just so egotistical that they think they can be the best team in the world year after year. But that's not realistic. I mean, yes, it happens. Like you look at the Patriots and you look at the Chiefs maybe, but I think for the most part, you have to be something maybe more like the Eagles, where you have like one or two runs and then you regress a little and then you try and rebuild and make another few runs. Like, would I rather be an Eagles fan than like a Cowboys fan, that the team that's made to the Super Bowl playoffs like 8 years in a row now and hasn't done anything? Is that better?
Well, so I would say no, because the thing that would ruin it for me and as an Eagles fan now is that you've recently won a Super Bowl. And so the
So
hope
you'd rather
element.
be the team that consistently makes the playoffs but gets an early exit than the team that like goes, wins the Super Bowl, regresses a few years, and then comes back again with a team that's capable to win another Super Bowl and makes it, but maybe loses or something like that.
If I'm an owner or if I'm involved in the organization, no, because ultimately you prove your ability to succeed. That if you said win a Super Bowl every 10 years and then kind of immediately go through a rebuild and work your way back up there, but become bad straight afterwards. No, as an owner, a GM, a head coach, that's a better sign of your skills and capabilities.
What
But
is? Wait, you're saying that's strange. Like,
winning a
what is?
Super Bowl and then rebuilding.
Okay. Versus having a team that you could say, I've made the playoffs 10 years in a row.
Yeah, definitely. I think from an owner perspective, that shows your ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, right, as the owner. And so I think you are a more successful owner if you are doing things that end up with that success. A head coach, I mean, I think it's hard to kind of look at Mike Tomlin and say he's not one of the best head coaches in the league and that what he does isn't super impressive, because ultimately I think the thing that kills Mike Tomlin is
he can't win a playoff game and save his life.
Well, you can't get a really good quarterback without bottoming
Anymore.
out. And so you're too good to get a good quarterback and too bad to be capable of winning. But I would still rather, but as a fan, because I have my belief that winning anything is ultimately unfulfilling, I would rather have the team that is consistently losing. Like if you just told me for the rest of my life, the 49ers isn't a good example because I've seen the 49ers win Super Bowls. But if you did say, would I rather the 49ers make it to the NFC Championship game every year for the rest of my life and lose versus win a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years, but then are terrible for the 10 afterwards? I'll take the NFC Championship game every year, and it's just be more fun. But I know I'm unique.
What a weird perspective on life you have.
I know I'm unique. I know I'm unique in thinking that you as a fan, as a player, as a coach, as an owner, I think it would be different. Because if I were a player, I would go, I've won a Super Bowl, made it. I still think it will be slightly unfulfilling. It won't be as good as you expected it to be, but it's life changing in terms of what does that mean for your media? What does that mean for your next contract? Like all of that stuff. But as a fan, where really my team winning the Super Bowl makes no difference, it's a brief moment of happiness followed by a void, then I'll just take the hope that fills that void over the, I saw him win. That's done. It wasn't that good. All right, now speaking of that hope, I guess we can move on to our picks for the remaining games of week 4 of the NFL season.
Yeah, we can do that.
Start things off with the Bengals at the Panthers, and the Bengals are 4.5-point favorites. This is, the revenge game for Andy Dalton. I think it's the third time.
He's had like 4 of them.
Yeah, it's the third or fourth time he's played the Bengals,
fourth.
but still a little bit of a revenge game. And for the Bengals, an immediate opportunity to get things back on track after a very disappointing Monday Night Football performance.
I have a fun stat for you here, Eddie. In 2023, 13 quarterbacks who didn't begin as the starter won their first game, just like Andy Dalton did for Carolina. Of those, only 10 got a second start, and they were 1-9 in their second game.
Who's the only player who's won their second game?
Yeah, that I don't know.
I would guess it might be Brock Purdy.
In 2023?
Oh, that was specifically last year?
Yeah, just last year.
Oh, then no, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But having said that, I think this would be another scenario of that. I was impressed by Andy Dalton. He significantly made that team better. Very sad for Bryce Young. But the Bengals eventually have to break out of this rut. Their offense is still really good. And the Panthers defense is not very good. So I just think that the Bengals are going to be able to outscore the Panthers. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, that I have to think about that. Going into the season, I don't think many people would have said, like, I'm not sure if the Bengals can outscore the Panthers and win. I struggle with it, but I do think that is what will happen, and the Bengals will come out of this with a final win for the first time this season.
Yeah, it's tough because it's hard to have too much confidence in a team that allowed the Commanders to score on on pretty much every possession, right? So how much faith can you have in I don't know that the Commanders are that much better on offense than the Panthers are. I don't think there's a huge drop off in terms of, and if anything, you could probably say the Panthers defense is marginally better than the Commanders defense. This is maybe a tougher opponent in some ways than what the Bengals just lost to. But yeah, I don't know.
Don't be fooled, Eddie, by
I'm not
one
going to
Andy
be.
Dalton game.
I'm actually going to look at this. I'm a big Bengals doubter a lot of the time. I'm
I know.
actually looking at this and thinking, oh my God, this Panthers team is still absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And they're only 4.5-point underdogs. Like, this is the chance. Like, for a money line, you know me, I love my little money line parlays, accumulators on Sunday. And the fact that I get a Bengals team that's 1.45, basically 1-2, to just throw into every accumulator and parlay and go, oh wow, that's a 75% boost on my original bet. That feels like a gimme. And then I look forward to everything else winning and me thinking to myself, why on earth did I put the Bengals in every single bet? But the good news, it's an early kickoff. It's the first set of games, so I'll have the chance to rebet in the afternoon if things really go wrong. Up next, we have the Broncos at the Jets. Then the Jets are the second heaviest favorites of the week, 7.5-point favorites. Is this Aaron Rodgers back-to-back home wins for the Jets now, or do you believe that the Broncos are better than you thought they were?
No, I think this is going to be, I said last week I expected the Jets to win, and I expected the Jets' overreaction to happen. This is going to be a little snowball effect here. I think the Jets will come out. I think the Broncos were flattered by how good they looked in that game, especially Bo Nix. When you look at the stats, Bo Nix wasn't rushed very much, so he had a lot of time back there, and I think for a rookie QB, that's amazing and great and makes things a lot easier. The Jets do a really good job on getting pressure on quarterbacks, so he'll not have that opportunity again this week. I think he'll struggle again. He'll come back down to what he was the first 2 weeks. Their defense doesn't impress me that much, so I think the Jets will be able to score some points. I think the Jets will win this pretty comfortably, and here's going to come the Jets and Rodgers Super Bowl chance starting already, and then they're going to get hit back to reality once they start playing real opponents again.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with you. I do think this Broncos team is a little friskier than we maybe thought coming into the season or after week one, but the Jets, this is a good defense and a pretty decent offense, and they should just have too much for the Broncos in every facet of the game. So already both of these are getting thrown into every accumulator I'm putting on Sunday. And I don't love the fact that that's the case, because I don't think either the Bengals or the Jets are that good, but they're going to be in every bet.
No. I mean, keep in mind, Bo Nix, everyone said he played great last week and the Broncos won. He still has 0 passing touchdowns this year in 3 games. So don't be that confident in Bo Nix.
So yeah, and to make clear, I'm also taking the Jets minus 7.5 there.
Yeah.
Up next, the Jags at the Texans. Texans are 6-point favorites. This is a battle of former high draft picks.
A 1 and a 2.
A 1 and a 2, yeah. One who has so far exceeded expectations and one who has been bitterly disappointing for the last couple of years. Who are you going to pick out of these two teams? Both of whom have looked a little shaky over the course of the season in different ways, but one had Super Bowl, like dark horse Super Bowl expectations and probably haven't quite lived up to that so far, and the other in the Jags looked really pretty disastrous so far.
Oof. Yeah, I'm going to take the Texans to win here. I think the spread, I think I would probably have to take the Jags on the spread, though. The Jags seem to play the Texans pretty well. Lawrence is 2-1 on the road against the Texans. I don't know. I don't know if I should still have any faith in the Jags. It's really tough. I don't think they're that bad of a team, but maybe they just are. Like how many games do they have to lose before people start realizing they're not that good?
Yeah, I think this is tough. I think the only thing that kind of keeps you holding on, and I mean you as in me, you, and probably a lot of other people, is just the Trevor Lawrence factor. It's just the idea of he's supposed to be good eventually, right? Like we've seen glimpses. He's been capable. He made it. They went to the playoffs. He's not been all bad. He was so good in college. And it does sort of keep you thinking that at some point they've got to turn it around, and they do. I would give just that little bit of caution to everyone because they have that tendency to. You're right. They do well against the Texans, but they also just do. They're strangely competitive in the odd game, and then the following week they'll be disastrous. It's sort of hard to read into any of their particular form in too much detail, but I mean they've lost what of their last. They have one win in the last
You talking about the Jags?
games. The Jags.
No, the Jags have lost 8 straight. Their last
No,
win
they
was against the Texans.
no they beat the
Oh, sorry,
Panthers.
Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has lost 8 straight.
Yeah, he didn't play, but yeah,
He
they
didn't
beat the
play.
Panthers 26-0 last year,
Yeah,
which that didn't
yeah.
take any doing. But aside from that, yeah, he's been pretty terrible. Yeah, the last time was 24-21 over the Texans nearly a year ago.
He's the only the second quarterback since 1967 to be drafted first overall and have multiple losing streaks of 8 games or more.
That's a pretty good stat. So I'm definitely going to take the Texans to win. The 6 points worries me though. I
Texans
just
are
think
6-1 outright after a loss under DeMarco Ryans and 5-2 against the spread
and
after
you
a
know what
loss.
I do love to say, you take a good team after a loss. Are the Texans a good team? I just think that the Jags were so bad last Monday. It's hard to see them pulling this or riding this ship at any point soon. So I'll take the Texans to win and the Texans to cover.
Did you say writing this shit or writing this ship?
Ship. Up next, the Rams at the Bears, and the Bears are 3-point favorites. I feel like this line is a massive overreaction to what we saw from the Rams in the fourth quarter of that game against the 49ers. And the reality is they're running on fumes. They're still missing a ton of players. They're not
You are
particularly
not
good.
going to take the Bears again. You took the Bears last week. You were
I'm
so
taking the
confident
Bears.
in the Bears. You were so confident in the Bears last week.
I got to figure out what my coin double is, the marketed double, but the Bears are going in it. Bears minus 6.5. The spread's only 3, but I'm going to boost it up to 6.5, and I'm going to put it in a double with something. I'll figure out what it is. But yeah, I just don't. I think the Bears are going to have too much. Bears to win, Bears to cover.
Bears have Keenan Allen coming back, so that could be a positive. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I could trust the Bears. I mean, listen, I am Caleb Williams' #1 fan here, but they have not looked very good. Their only win is the Will Levis gift that they were handed. Um, the Rams are without Puka and Cooper Kupp. Stafford, though, only needs 223 yards to get into 10th most in NFL history. He will knock out Eli Manning out of the top 10 once he does that.
That's an interesting point, right? We haven't discussed it. Eli Manning is on the ballot for the Pro Football Hall of Fame at the first time of asking. Do you think that Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No. I think he's a Hall
Okay.
of Famer.
All right. Great discussion. Thanks for that.
No, I mean that's how
definitive.
definitive I am, Eddie.
We'll start a new podcast. We'll just call it one word answers from Frank. I'll ask you a question. You just go yes or
Go ahead, give me another one.
Is now I gotta think of a somewhat interesting question. You put me on the spot here. Come back to me. I'll throw another one at you later in the podcast.
Yeah, is this the game that you get a little bit of a Caleb Williams breakout? I'm gonna say no. I think the Rams are gonna win this.
Okay, interesting. That makes me even more confident in the Bears. Then we have the
I will stay
Viking.
away from that game though, by any means necessary.
I won't. I'm all in. I've just worked out, to be honest with you, so far, the first. Let's just say it now: Bengals, Jets, Texans, Bears, money line. Enjoy your
Oh
afternoon.
God.
Enjoy your afternoon. 4 teams you shouldn't trust, but that bet is winning. That's. I'll call that the untrustworthy quadruple, and that's
Not as good of a ring.
no, a little bit of a mouthful, but this time it's actually going to win, which is the key thing. Then we have the Vikings at the Packers, a nice divisional matchup. A better than expected Vikings team against a Packers team that should have Jordan Love back at quarterback. Seems like
Yes,
he's going to
looks
play,
like it.
but it's who knows. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites, and I can't believe it, to be honest, because I'm not going to trust that Jordan Love is making it. I'm not even totally certain Jordan Love's even going to start. And if he doesn't, then this line automatically shifts 3, 4, 5 points just from that news coming out. And then even more than that, this is a Vikings defense that's caused fits for every team they've played against. Get a ton of pressure, a ton of sacks. I can't trust Jordan Love coming off an Achilles injury, and even if he's playing, has to be less mobile than he would normally be against a team like this. So I'll take the Vikings to win, and the Vikings plus 2.5.
I'm gonna take the Packers here. I'm not sold on the Vikings yet. I mean, they beat a shitty Niners team. That's their best win. So Jordan Love will be back. Jordan Love played very well against them week 17 last year. They blitzed him on 58% of his dropbacks last year. So they did put a ton of pressure on him, just like they're putting pressure on teams this year. And he posted up a great game, 83 QBR. So I think the Packers are just a better team. You know, like when we looked at these rosters at the beginning of the year, everyone thought the Packers were much better than the Vikings were, and I'm going to stick to that. At home in Lambeau, Jordan Love back. I'll take the Packers.
Okay, a disagreement. Had a couple so far. Then the Saints at the Falcons, and the Falcons are 2.5-point favorites.
This one, I'm going to have to go with the Falcons, not because I want to, but because I have them in many futures to win their division. And this is a must win if they want to win their division against division rival New Orleans Saints. I'm not confident in this. I'm not confident in either team. The Saints have a few injuries, so especially to their line. So that could help the Falcons a little bit there because the Saints, Kamara was having a really good season, but if their line isn't the same, maybe that'll slow them up a little bit. And I know actually he's pretty banged up, Kamara. So hopefully the Falcons kind of can get back on track here and win this, but I am not confident in either team really.
I like that logic of you're going to take them because you already have a financial commitment to their success. I'm not sure that makes a ton of sense in terms of being confident.
I can't hedge my bets in week 4.
Fair enough. Then we have the
You didn't tell who you're picking.
My pick. Well, I actually am going to take the Falcons. I don't quite believe the Saints hype. I think we saw the best of the Saints that we're going to see so far this season. And the Falcons are, they looked pretty good against the Chiefs. They really should have won that game. And I don't know how to read into that form because I think a lot of teams were going to come away from their matchup against the Chiefs and be like, they look pretty good against the Chiefs. They should have won that. I've been saying that for the last 2 years for everyone who's played the Chiefs. And it doesn't mean that the other team the Chiefs are playing is particularly good. But yeah, I'll take the Falcons to win and the Falcons to cover.
First time in 12 games the Falcons have been favored over the Saints.
That's interesting and surprising. Then you have the Eagles at the Buccaneers, and the Eagles are 1.5-point favorites. This is it feels like the theme of the NFL season so far. Which version of these teams do you believe in? I urged you and listeners to have a degree of caution surrounding the Buccaneers last week, and then they were awful. But then prior to that, we saw them be pretty good. This Eagles team kind of been decent throughout the season. They haven't had any catastrophically bad performances. On the back of that, I'm just going to have to trust the Eagles. And I'll take the Eagles to win in -1.5 points.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm going to take the Eagles here. I think they're the better team. Jalen Hurts actually looks pretty good this year. I think he's got one of his best QBR ratings he's had through the start of the season compared to previous. But AJ Brown might be out. Devonta Smith might also be out. So that could be a little tough. But they still have Saquon, and the Bucs do give up a ton of yards. So I think the Eagles will be able to move the ball here, and I think the Eagles will win this game.
And the final game of the early set, one I'm sure you will watch every down of, the Steelers at the Colts, and the Steelers are 1.5-point favorites.
Oh, here we go. Another big Steelers win against a crappy team in the Colts. It's such a shame because the only thing the Colts can do is run the ball, and the only thing the Steelers can do is stop the run.
I think that's being a little bit dismissive of the Steelers defense, which is just shutting
Are
down.
we sure?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
They're good in every facet of the game.
Well, let's see when they play a quarterback for a whole game.
Well, they played even a good one because they played a few quarterbacks. They just might not have been particularly good. I know you're so Anthony Richardson. He kind of blows hot and cold, but he mostly blows cold. And then there's 3 plays a game that remind you of his arm talent or his athletic ability.
And then you have to hear the announcer say, "And this is why they were so hyped to draft him."
Yeah, and then unfortunately,
it's plays like that, Mike.
Unfortunately for me, when I then go and place my bets on Sunday, those are the plays that stick out in my mind when I'm trying to make that decision at the last second. I'm like, but how can I bet a guy against a guy who can throw 60 yards off his back foot? And then I can't see him throw a 5-yard completion. So,
and then you see him throw one of the worst interceptions to a player in the end zone 2 yards away that you've ever seen.
Yeah. No, he may as well just be firing the ball 60 yards every play, no matter what.
I mean, it's a question. Maybe that's what you do.
Yeah, you just play it like you're playing Madden. Just go routes for everybody and just hope for the best. You all just need to connect on 5 of them, and you probably win. But yeah, I'm just going to back this Steelers defense to keep this run of form going. I think best defense in the league. I actually think this 1.5-point line is mildly disrespectful in some ways. So I'll take the Steelers to win and the Steelers to cover.
It is disrespectful. I will give you that. I think the Steelers should be more favored here. I don't know what everyone sees in the Colts. I don't see it. TJ Watt plays well against the Colts. 5 games. He's got 5.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 15 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles. So I think you're going to see another big Watt performance here. He's sitting on 99.5 sacks, so he wants that 100th sack. He will get that 100th sack. Second fastest to reach 100 since 1982. Do you know who was the first fastest? He is a Hall of Famer.
Wow, that's not surprising.
Arguably one of the best defensive ends ever, if not the best.
Did he play for the Giants?
He did not play for the Giants.
What era did he play in? In our lifetime?
Yeah, we've seen him play. Not much, but we've seen him play.
So like 90s.
Yeah. We actually did see him play a lot, but he was the best in like late 80s, early 90s.
Put me out of my misery.
Reggie White.
Oh, fair enough.
96 games to get 100 sacks.
Now, to kick things off in the later set of games, the heaviest favorite of the week, the heaviest favorite of the NFL season so far. It's the New England Patriots at the San Francisco 49ers, and the 49ers are 10.5-point favorites coming off their slightly embarrassing loss to the LA Rams last week. You know what I say? You always take a good team after a bad loss. And for now, I'm going to still put the 49ers into a good team category. I just think this Patriots team is not, they don't have any standout qualities in any area. And the 49ers, I expect a very, even missing some offensive weapons, it's just the defense that I expect to improve this week. There were no excuses for the defensive lapses in the fourth quarter of that game against the Rams. So I think this will be a suffocating performance from the 49ers defense. I'll take Patriots under 9.5 points, and the Niners are going to win by 20 plus.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
For themselves, not
Yes.
Like, yeah. So yeah, I'll take the Niners to win, the Niners to cover.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. That's not a bad bet. The Pats under 10 is a pretty good bet there. Except you might get like that last touchdown in the fourth quarter when the Niners are up 30 and they've got, you know, some of the players from the fans sitting in and playing a few snaps. But yeah, I just think the Niners are too good to be 1-2, and they need to beat on a shitty team to make themselves feel good. So this is the perfect opportunity.
From there have been a couple candidates so far of games that I don't want to see a second of. And actually, the Patriots Niners was kind of close to that because it's hard to come up with too many compelling storylines.
There's a lot of not so great games this week.
The Saints Falcons doesn't interest me too much. The Steelers Colts didn't interest me too much. The Eagles Buccaneers doesn't interest me too much. The Jags against the Texans doesn't interest me too much. To be honest with you, the only games really
great week to miss the NFL if you had to miss it.
Yeah, like Vikings Packings is a decent. Vikings Packers is a decent looking game. But yeah, it's not really. And you have some nice divisional matchups, even though the games themselves are not particularly good. Commanders Cardinals, it's close to kind of not wanting to see, but I think you can at least guarantee offensive plays, like exciting plays that you're going to see, even if the overall standard of play is not super high. Commanders, one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense in the league. I'm going to take the Commanders to back up their Monday night win against the Bengals, to be riding a little wave. Two reasons for this. One is that I don't quite believe that the Cardinals are as good as they've looked so far. I think their competitive performances against better teams, sometimes that can trick you into thinking a bad team is better than it is when they're ultimately not pulling off the actual wins. Kyler Murray, I think, is a great quarterback to have in the sort of underdog status when you're 10 points down or whatever, and he's making plays in the backfield and pulling off, you're kind of getting those first downs that you didn't expect or touchdowns. But I also, like you, have your preseason bet that you want. As a result, you need to put more money on the Falcons. For my sake of my Cardinals tickets, I need them to lose more games. So I will take the Commanders to win and plus the 3.5 points.
You've always been anti-Cardinals. Some of it rightfully so, but some of it I think they actually are a little better than you give them credit for.
You say always. Yeah, as long as this podcast has been going. But there have been plenty of Cardinals teams in the past that I quite liked.
Yeah, I just think here, I think we were slightly fooled by the Commanders. Again, we just talked about this an hour ago. They should be 1-2. They had no business winning a game where they couldn't score a touchdown. They have scored on 14 consecutive possessions if you take away their kneel downs that they have. But again, that's against probably the worst Bengals defense in the league. And the Giants held them to field goals. And so I'm not that impressed there. Their defense is awful, especially their pass defense. It's one of the worst in the NFL. The Cards have looked pretty good passing the ball, getting it to Marvin Harrison Jr. But the biggest key stat here, Eddie, that makes me pick the Cards and maybe makes me pick them to go heavy here to win this game is Kyler Murray going against his former coach, Cliff Kingsbury. They did not like each other. Kingsbury was not super high on Kyler Murray. And this is that classic game where you get a player who will get so fired up that he's going to fucking go out there and he might rush for 300 yards and pass for 300 yards. This could be an epic Kyler Murray performance to try and really give it to Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm going with the Cards here.
It's true, and I guess if you're a Cardinals and Kyler Murray fan, you got to make hay while the sun shines at the moment because the new Call of Duty, I think the
Oh, this again?
early release is October 25th. So you know that Kyler Murray's not watching any game tape from the 25th onwards. So if he's still starting for the Cardinals end of October, you can give up on him then. So maybe he is super focused, just anticipating that new Call of Duty, but still having time to do the work that he should. After that, this is it. This is the game I got to give the losing horn to.
Ugh.
The Browns at the Raiders. Raiders 1.5-point favorites. I mean, what could be worse for the Browns? Don't know what to do at the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson looks unplayable. New controversy surrounding him on an almost weekly basis. And what's up next for him? A trip to Las Vegas. What could possibly go wrong for Deshaun Watson there?
Maybe the real question, Eddie, is what could possibly go right?
Yeah, just the land of temptation for Deshaun Watson. I mean, if I were the Raiders, I would be there would be like targeted emails into d.watson@browns.com. It would be massages, here's free massages every day. But I don't know. This is two bad teams, but ultimately I think I still have some faith in this Browns pass rush and this Browns defense, and that they can kind of smother the Raiders. And for that reason, I'll take the Browns to win and the Browns plus 1.5, but I don't love it.
Oh, I don't like that at all. Half their offensive line is out against Max Crosby, which isn't good. And on the other side of the ball, Deshaun Watson has the worst QBR among 29 quarterbacks to start first 3 games this season. He's the worst in the NFL. That's insane. And they're still going with him. Like not even a thought of taking him out. I can't go with the Browns. You know, it's crazy to think that if preseason you said this to me, I would have taken the Browns, no problem. But they just look so bad, so bad. I've got to go Raiders.
Yeah, it's fair logic. After that, we have the Chiefs at Chargers. The Chiefs 7-point favorites. Justin Herbert's injury status. He has this high ankle sprain. He's practicing, but he's limited. It's unclear as to whether or not he's going to play. Based on where the spread is, you'd assume that they're predicting that he won't, because I don't think the Chiefs would be this heavy of favorites if this were Justin Herbert under center. And on that basis, I don't even know who the Chargers' backup quarterback is. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win and the Chiefs to cover the spread.
Yeah, the Chiefs Chargers usually play really close games. So only 1 out of the last 6 has been over 6 points in the margin. And that seems to be what the Chiefs do regularly now, is just have super close games all the time. But this is one I think that won't be within a score. Normally, I'd be very high on the Chargers, but like you said, Herbert has that high ankle sprain. Joe Alt and Slater, both their tackles, are also injured, might be out, and Joey Bosa might be out. So literally, their 4 best players all might be out. That is a recipe for disaster against the Chiefs. So I'll take the Chiefs to win the cover.
Yeah. No, I mean, a really disappointing set of later games to follow a disappointing set of early games, but it builds up to a really interesting Sunday night game, which is the Bills at the Ravens, and the Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. The Ravens showed signs of life, obviously, against the Cowboys last week. How much do you read into that when you consider that the Cowboys really aren't particularly good? At the same time, the Ravens, in another world, another version, another multiverse, they could have won every game so far and be looking like one of the strongest teams in the league. The Bills have just steamrolled everyone they've played against. I thought the really surprising thing, Damar Hamlin obviously got his first career interception
Well, a
On
guy who looks like DeMar Hamlin.
yeah, DeMar Hamlin's clone. Why is it taking him so long to get an interception? It feels like that's
What?
even
He just started
how many
playing this season. He just started.
games does DeMar Hamlin play in the NFL?
That was like his first or second season when he got hurt, quote unquote. He just became a starter for the first time this year.
Yeah, it's fair enough. He didn't play much prior to that, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know. It just slightly surprised me, but I don't know where to land
Why you
here.
gotta take a shot, DeMar Hamlin? What
It
has
is a
DeMar
bit of a
Hamlin ever
shot.
done to you? You gotta take a shot at him. You gotta call him out. You know what? You know what? He's sitting there. What the fuck have you ever done? Oh, you got into an MRI? I fucking died on the field and came back. Stop bitching about being in a donut MRI, you loser. That's what he's saying right now.
Unnecessarily aggressive.
He gets aggressive when people come after him about his amount of
His clone
interceptions.
does. His clone does.
Yeah, they didn't clone the personality well enough.
Personality way more aggressive. That's the downside of cloning. Actually,
Yeah.
it really leads to extra.
It's an issue they have with cloning. The clones become aggressive.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I find this really, really tough. It's kind of a stay away for me. It won't be because it's Sunday Night Football. Obviously, you have to watch it no matter what. But in terms of being too confident,
obviously you have to watch it.
Legally required. It's hard to have too much confidence because I feel like with the Bills, I go through this every season with them, where I like the Bills. Inherently, I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen and I like the Bills. But at the beginning of seasons, I kind of doubt them a little bit. And then they convince me that they're really, really good. And then I pick them against a good team and it goes really badly. It's usually the Chiefs. That's usually when this really comes to a fore. But I think I'll take the Ravens just on the basis that it could run all over the Bills. This is probably the sternest test that the Bills have faced so far. Maybe the Bills have been a little flattered by not facing great opponents, and so we're reading too much into how good their wins have looked. So I'll take the Ravens to win, and the Ravens -2.5.
I'm going to take the Bills here, but I agree with you. This is a good game. This is more of a fun watch game. Maybe just throw on like Allen and Jackson to score touchdowns. You know, I think, and then just have fun watching it, something like that. Yeah, it's tough. So I still think a lot of people are picturing the Ravens defense before losing their defensive coordinator and now having first year new defensive coordinator. They're not the same defense they were last year with oh crap. It's not McDaniels, is it? Is that his name? I think it was. Mike McDaniels. Right?
Mike McDonald.
McDonald. Damn it. I'm getting him and McDaniels
and the head coach of the Miami Dolphins confused. Yeah, Mike McDonald.
Yeah, Zach Orr has not done as well as McDonald. They're letting up a ton of passing yards, and they are 1-2. Josh Allen through 3 games, 92.6 QBR. Not only is that first, we just talked about Watson being last. Not only is that first in the NFL, it's the highest ever since 2006, since they started this stat, the QBR stat. So he's having a phenomenal year. If I had to pick, and I probably will end up choosing, I think the Bills getting points is nice. And I think the Bills might win this outright, but it should be a slugfest. It should be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of the saving grace of the Sunday lineup. And speaking of poor lineups, we then have another
This
Monday
is the
night.
worst game.
And
how is this not the game you don't want to watch?
It's never been done before, Frank. We're going to have to. Happened before on the podcast. 2 games I don't want to see. Monday night, doubleheader. That's the only thing that makes this somewhat salvageable is that even though it's prime time, I can't avoid it. It's the Titans and the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 1-point favorites. I mean, this is just a battle of which quarterback is going to be out of the league first. and I'm not sure who wins. That's the tough thing.
If there was ever, for people out there who you always see those posts on Instagram, like, hey, I used to have a husband and then the NFL season came and now I don't see him anymore. This is like the perfect opportunity to kind of gain some traction back and be like, Monday night, hey, want to do a date night tonight? Want to maybe go to a movie, get some dinner? Because I don't want to watch this fucking game. And in fact, you'll be doing yourself a favor by not watching this game and instead gaining some browning points and taking your partner out to dinner and a movie.
See, you're right, but the reason why the NFL has then screwed you is an entirely avoidable, unwatchable Monday night game is paired with a somewhat interesting Monday night game. So you can't even do the let me skip Monday night football. Okay, you can skip until the normal kickoff time because you can miss the first like 45 minutes of this Titans Dolphins game, but then you're
Yeah,
still going to
early dinner and a movie.
but then you could do that normally because the Seahawks Lions game is just kicking off at normal Monday night time. This is the early kickoff.
Yeah, but the difference is chances are your partner will see that there's football on and say like, but wait, isn't there's football on? You don't want to watch it? And no, 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 no. I'd much rather go out to dinner than watch that game with you. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's so
maybe,
nice of you.
maybe, maybe. But then you might
And,
also be setting a dangerous precedent. So I would be careful there. But
and then
yeah,
you
I
can
mean,
come home and catch the ending of what might be a more fun game in the Seahawks and the Lions.
maybe.
I mean, we can almost honestly just skip the
I
Titans Dolphins. I don't even Dolphins have a better. Do I trust Skylar Thompson more than Will Levis? I think so with the rest of the offense they have. So I guess I'll take the Dolphins, but I will not put a single dollar on this.
no, I won't be betting on this. Maybe in running, like maybe if one of
No,
these
I'd be
teams
running away from betting this.
maybe if one of these teams is sort of 14 points up at halftime, then I'm throwing it in with my pick for the Seahawks Lions is a little bit of an odds boost. But yeah, pregame, no chance. I agree with you. I don't know. Skylar Thompson looked reasonably competent last year, right? Or whenever it was, 2 years ago, he made his appearance against the Bills. Um, yeah, I just can't trust Will Levis at all. So I'll take the Dolphins to win and the Dolphins -1. And then, yeah, we wrap things up with Seahawks at the Lions. The Lions are 3.5 point favorites.
Yeah, this is one I think I'll be pretty heavy onto the Lions here. I think the Seahawks are a decent team, but they're being flattered by the fact that they played Bo Nix and the Broncos, Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots, and Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins. Uh, this is in Detroit Monday night against a Lions team that will be fired up. I think the Lions are going to win this pretty comfortably.
All right. Well, that wraps up the NFL
You
week
don't have a pick for that
4.
game either?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'll also take the Lions. I'm not quite as confident in them as you are because I think the Seahawks team is actually quite good. But I will take the Lions to win and the Lions to cover just on the basis that they're the home team. But it's a little bit of a stay away for me because I don't trust the Lions totally. And I think the Seahawks are friskier than I sometimes. I think they kind of play to the standard of their opponent almost, the Seahawks. So when they're playing against these bad teams, they don't look great, but then they do up their quality when they're playing against a better team. So I think they could cause the Lions a lot of trouble. Anything else to cover from the sports world? I guess we've pretty much done it all.
Yeah, no, I think that's about it.
Non-sports topics?
I am chipping away at Rings of Power. An episode a night. That's about all I can handle. Maybe this weekend I'll be able to put 2 down in a night, but it's a tough show to do 2 in a row. I
I
have
could do it, I
heard.
think.
I have heard the penultimate episode this season is very, very good.
Okay. Who'd you hear that from? Gandalf?
What? No. Is that Gandalf? No, I saw a post. I didn't read anything about it, but someone that I know is pretty into the show was very excited about the penultimate episode.
Fair enough. Well, I have not watched this week's episode yet. That will be tonight's television viewing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I could do 2 episodes. I definitely couldn't do 3. I think I could do 2. I think I could do 2. I can do back to back.
We'll have to see. Yeah, maybe Saturday. I don't know what time the Georgia Alabama game is. I think that could be a night game.
It's a night game, yeah. It's
Gonna
sort of
have to watch
1:30 in
that.
the morning for me. So I guess for you it's mid-afternoon.
That'll cut into the Rings of Power time.
All right.
All right, I guess with that we'll call it a day. Talk to you
Sounds
later.
good. See ya.
See ya.